winter. Pass these out to you guys for the end of class. This off to the side somewhere. Little solstice. This. Let me just grab one thing. Okay. Talking about the curtains. Yes. Yeah, they have a plug. Are they great? Yeah. They're just tiny. You can put them like in a gauzy curtain too. They look so cool. Or you could like really stretch them out and make them like a line. Same people. This is great. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. All right, so we'll get started. Hi, everybody, and happy winter solstice. Yeah. The shortest day of the year and the longest night. Kickoff to the winter season when the sun moves into Capricorn. And so, thinking about this time of year, and when we honor the solstice, really, it's all about the celebration of honoring the light. The return of the light, welcoming in as much light into our lives as we can, which is this common theme through the holiday season. It reminds me so much of this idea and theme in yoga of the light, right? Love and light, and doing this practice so that we're lighter, brighter, that we have more, positivity, and we're able to better handle the things that life throws at us in a more calm way. But there's this thing that's also really bugged me always about the yoga community and the spiritual practice of yoga that only focuses on that because it's not realistic. And so much of that focus of, positive vibes only, let's say, we're like, oh, just love and light, or my vibration's so high that I don't get stressed anymore. All that stuff that's just completely unrealistic and can really fall into, but it's very prevalent, right? Everybody knows that. They die. Yeah. And really so much of that is this concept of spiritual bypassing, right? Where instead of going through the difficult emotion or the challenging time or the dark period, we just want to go around it and say like, oh no, I only do the light. And this time of year is about both. It's about embracing the light and welcoming it, but also about being okay with the fact that this is the darkest period of the year. And I was just telling Sue that last night, my girls are 2 and 5. And so typically our nighttime routine is that around like 6 we have dinner, and then around 6:15 I'm getting them in the bath. And so it's when I first started teaching this class at this time, it was wild for me to be driving home in the dark because I'm just not out in the dark right now at this point in my life. And last night I took them out to look at Christmas lights, and they were just the excitement was like moving. It's such a blast. And my 5-year-old Ani kept being like, the dark is so wonderful. Look at this. It's this cold, dark night. And she was just eating it up. And I think that sometimes we forget that there is so much that happens in the dark that also metaphorically in life is what allows us to appreciate the light, right? And that when we are born, there's this darkness in the womb. When we plant a seed in the darkness of the earth, that this is where things grow. And really the true practice of yoga that's not focused on just the light welcomes all of this and knows that really what the practice teaches us is how to sit inside of ourselves in such a way that when we are in those dark moments and when we are uncomfortable and when we are dealing with the things that would be easier to bypass, it gives us tools in which to navigate those and gives us practice to do so, because it's not easy to sit like this. It's not easy to sit in meditation and quiet just with our thoughts. It's not easy to hold some of these yoga poses for a length of time. It's challenging. This practice is challenging, and it's because life is challenging. And so the true meaning of yoga welcomes all of that, the light and the dark. So we'll honor that tonight in our little solstice practice. So let's take a comfortable seat and sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes and draw your awareness inward. So even when we do this simple practice of closing the eyes, of welcoming the darkness that we find behind our eyelids, and dropping back and down into ourselves, focusing inward. There's a shift that happens. There's a shift that happens when we take away one of our senses. This practice of pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. That's one of the limbs of yoga. So sorry, guys. Sure, I can off the sound on my computer. I'm not sure. I hope it's off now. So that's life, right? That's the practice, is like when things aren't perfect, when things go really awry, can we still not let it phase us? Can we still say, okay, that happened, and let it be part of our meditation or experience rather than taking away from it? So take a moment to recenter and find that stillness once again. And notice what happens when you remove your outer vision and instead focus on this inner vision. Notice your breath in your body and any feelings that come up that may be underneath the breath. So sometimes when we focus on the breath, we draw our awareness inward, there's an innate sense of calm. And sometimes it's the opposite, or maybe there's some anxious feelings or unsettled energy. So this practice of yoga, of union, asks us to welcome all of it, the things that we deem to be light and positive, and the things that we deem to be dark or shadowy or negative. On your next inhale, Allow your sitting bones, your hips and your legs to get heavier and more rooted. You could even imagine that you're growing roots deep and wide into the earth, like a winter tree that's life begins to, energy gets moved down into those roots during the cold. And then from there, as you inhale, lengthen your spine, take your shoulders up, back and down, let the crown of your head rise up towards the sky. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Let your tongue get heavy and wide on the lower palate of your mouth. Give yourself a moment here to simply be still in the busyness of this season, this hectic time that's full of fun and joy and stress, family, and loneliness, and all of the things that the holidays can bring up. Give yourself permission to simply just be for another few breaths. And notice what happens when there's nothing to do except to be. And then please draw your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today, or perhaps for this next year, as the winter solstice is a powerful time of intention setting, typically more so even than New Year's. So perhaps there's some notion of what it is that you want to leave behind from this year, what you're ready to let go of or shed, and who it is that you're ready to step into and become, and what it is that you want to attract and draw forth. We'll seal in our intentions and begin our class with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Then open your mouth and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes and release your hands. Let's come to all fours. You can move your props off to the side. Set yourself up in a tabletop position so that your knees are under your hips, your wrists are right underneath your shoulders. And let's move through a few gentle rounds of cat and cow here. So as you inhale, arch your spine, soften your belly, melt your heart, and take your gaze up. And as you exhale, round your back, tailbone draws down, draw your belly in, bring your chin to your chest. Move with your breath. And when we begin to come into our bodies, we may notice these themes of light and dark, or light and shadow, in the way that we experience our body, the things that we like and don't like about it, or the limitations of our body. right? The ways that the body can't move or is tight or injured or not as strong as we would like. So in your practice tonight, you could simply notice when those thoughts arise, or when we have the opposite, where we're feeling really positive and praising ourselves. And on your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands about an inch or two forward and take them an inch or two wider. So maybe part of your hand or most of your hand comes off from it. And then we'll take some big hip circles here. Just gently opening the hips, moving in whatever direction feels best to start with. So your hips will go back towards one heel, swing over towards the other heel, come up towards one wrist and circle over to the other wrist. Just one big circle here. You could even let your shoulders get involved, lubricating your joints as much as possible. Maybe even let your head hang a little bit. Give yourself some freedom to move here. Find more movement and mobility. And then you'll come back through center and switch directions. You may find that this side feels a little more awkward, maybe a little more stuck or tense. Just notice what you find. And then come back through center, find child's pose, taking your knees wide, big toes together, send your hips back towards your heels, walk your hands out in front of you. You can bring your forehead to the ground or to a couple of blocks. And then walk your hands over to the right until you can stretch through your left side body. Come back through center, walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side body. Come back through center and make your way into downward facing dog. You can give yourself some time here to pedal out your legs. Settle into maybe what's your first down dog of the day or the week or the month. And then walk your feet forward until they meet your hands. You can keep your knees bent or soft here. And as you inhale, lengthen your spine, come to a flat back. Your hands can slide up the sides of your shins. Draw your shoulder blades onto the back of your heart. Reach your sternum and the crown of your head forward. And then on an exhale, fold back in. Inhale, lengthen to a flat back. Exhale, fold in. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. This time, move down into your feet, and as you inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. So we'll move through a few rounds of sun salutations here, just as a way to honor the light, the return of the sun. Take a look down at your feet and see that they're parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. You guys all probably want to take your socks off unless they're grippy on the bottom. And then from here, you'll lift and spread your toes. Root down through the big toe mounds and the pinky toe mounds of your feet and your heels. Engage your kneecaps, so the kneecaps lift, quadriceps engage, legs hug in towards each other. So you want to feel that strength of a tree trunk here in mountain pose as you ground. And then bring your arms down by your sides, but turn your palms forward. Notice what happens in your shoulders when you do that. You can turn your palms back in and feel your shoulders round forward. Turn your palms back out. Feel your shoulders expand, open, draw into the back of the heart. And then from here, on an inhale, reach your arms up, lengthen up, stretch up. So it's amazing how little we do this movement in life unless we're stretching or doing yoga. So here, press into your feet, reach up through your fingertips, feel that you're being pulled in both directions, grounding down and rising up, this balance between light and shadow. And then on an exhale, you'll swan dive forward, touch your toes. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up. And then you can bring your knees down. So if your knees bother you, you can always pad them here. But you want to make sure that you didn't move into a tabletop, that you keep your tailbone lengthened and your pelvis moving forward. Your shoulders can move a little past your wrists. Draw your belly in, engage your core to protect your low back, and then bend your elbows straight back and see if you could bring yourself all the way down to the ground like a plank, a wooden board. Keep your shoulders up, back, and down. Resist gravity. Point your toes. Press the tops of the feet down into the ground. Then inhale, lift your chest, come into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale, fold. Press down into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to your heart. Take a moment and pause here and feel that you've built some heat in your body. We're connecting to this energy of the sun, this masculine life force energy of vitality that the sun brings. And so we'll add on from here. Press down into your feet again and activate your legs. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, take a big step back with your left leg. Hands come down to frame your right foot. So right knee is over your right ankle. And if it's not, you'll step your back leg back through. You're on the ball of your back foot, hug your legs in towards each other. Power up your back leg, back thigh lifts. Good. And then bring your gaze forward, look forward. Lengthen the sternum. If this feels cramped, bring your hands up onto blocks. Breathe. Then place your hands and step back, downward facing dog. We'll move through another vinyasa here. Come forward to your high plank. Up to you. If you want to bring your knees down again, please do. If you prefer not to, then you can keep the knees lifted. And we'll exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Point your toes, press the tops of the feet down, curl your shoulders up, back and down, lift your heart, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold. Root down into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pause, feel the beating of your own heart. Reconnect to your breath. And then one more time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, big step back with your right foot. Hug your legs in towards each other. Press your right thigh up to the sky. Lengthen through your sternum. Heart moves forward, gaze forward. Breathe. Then place your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to a high plank. Knees can come down or stay lifted. Exhale to lower. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then this time we'll all move into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch. Send your hips back towards your heels, forehead to the mat. When you're ready, make your way back into down dog. This time, right leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. So step it all the way up in between your hands. Keep your left hand down, and as you inhale, sweep your right arm up to twist. Gaze up into your top thumb if that's possible. With your neck. Exhale, release. Bring your hands down to bring your front foot again. And now pivot your back heel down to the ground. Cartwheel your arms up, come into warrior two. Center of the head comes right over your tailbone. Your front foot points straight ahead. And so everybody can take a look, here, bring your hands down. Take a look at your back foot and see that the pinky toe edge of your back foot is parallel to the back edge of your mat, or your toes could turn in slightly if that's better on your hip. Now your front foot, your heel, ideally should dissect the line of your back foot. So you can toe heel your foot into position, yes. So that if I were to draw a line from your front heel straight back, you would hit the center of your back foot. Okay, then from here, bend your front knee. Your knee should go past your ankle. If it does, you just need more space. And then the center of your head. So the tendency is for us to lean the torso forward. Here, you want to take the center of your head and line it up over your tailbone. So you're really moving this left side body and rib cage back in space here. Then extend your arms straight out in line with your shoulders. Bring your gaze out over your right middle finger and breathe. From here, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Nothing changes in your legs, but lengthen out of your pelvis, lean back. And then exhale, cartwheel your arms down. Pivot your back heel up, downward facing dog. Options here, you could stay in down dog. You can move through another vinyasa, or you could take a pause in child's pose. And then from downward facing dog, inhale, your left leg lifts. Exhale, step your left foot up in between your hands. Keep your right hand down and sweep your left arm to twist. Exhale, release and bring your left hand back down to frame your front foot. Pivot your back heel down. See if here you can find that heel to arch alignment before you come up. And once you do, cartwheel your arms up and come into warrior two, second side. Notice the alignment of the spine. So here we're looking for mountain pose and Tadasana, rather than having the spine kind of tilting over the front. That neutral long line of energy from the center of the head to the tailbone. And then from there, extend your arms with your gaze out over your left middle finger. Breathe. See if you could sit a little deeper into your pose. So in each pose, we're looking to find our edge, that place where we're just outside of our comfort zone. We're just crossing that border into the darkness of the unknown, right? At that point in our bodies where we're like, I don't typically hang out here. This is a little bit strange, right? Never into pain or into numbness or tingling, but maybe just outside of what's comfortable so that we can practice keeping calm, keeping steady, staying present, and noticing what comes up in the body. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, and in the mind, right? Which for me, when I'm not teaching, is usually something directed at my teacher, like, why are you holding this pose so long? Did she forget that we're hanging out here? Or why did I even come to yoga? Or thinking about, what I still have to do later this evening. All the ways that the mind tries to take us out of the moment. Can we notice that and come back to center anyway? Cartwheel your arms down, move your back heel up, downward facing dog. And here we're going to move through a final vinyasa. So inhale, come forward to your 5-plank push-up. Exhale to lower with knees down or lifted. Inhale up into cobra. Exhale back downward facing dog. And once again, child's pose. And notice the inherent darkness of child's pose. The way in which the shape of the pose perhaps creates a feeling of safety, rest, of pause, a little reprieve in some way. And if that's not your experience in the pose, then you could always try laying on your back and hugging your knees into your chest. But there's a protective nature in this shape where we are covering our front body, which is vulnerable and exposed, where all of our vital organs are. So that part gets curled in and safe. And we can easily, or more easily, draw our awareness inward within that darkness of child's pose, just like a little seed. Go ahead and walk your hands in. But first, before you come down onto your back, I'll show you the shape of our arms that we're going to use in this next pose. So this is a good time to hydrate. So this is the shape that the arms will be in. Just easier to show you this way before we come down. And so you'll come to lay down on your back. Take the soles of your feet together and your knees wide in reclined butterfly or reclined cobbler's pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. You could place blocks under your thighs if this is a little intense on your hips. And then you'll take your arms into that shape where you bring them overhead, rest one palm on top of the other, and your elbows are gently bent. And here we'll call this pose 2 Christmas wreaths. So we have this circular shape above and below us. And just give yourself this moment to be more still, more quiet, a little more calm, more restful. Notice your breath in your body and see where you feel it most clearly. Can you draw your breath down so that your belly rises and falls with each breath in and out? And can you drop the weight of your body a little more, giving in to gravity and allowing the floor and your mat to support you? You can bring your hands to the backs of your thighs and use your arms to help bring your knees up to center. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Let your knees knock in onto each other, pausing here in constructive rest. You take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And then hug your knees into your chest. Go ahead and roll to your right side, come all the way back up to sit, and find your bolster. And your bolster is going to come lengthwise on your mat, and you'll sit off to the short side of it. You'll bring, doesn't matter which side you do first, but I'll just talk you through the side that I'm doing. So you'll bring your right thigh up against your bolster, and you'll sit with your legs in this shape. It's called deer pose, or sometimes mermaid, if that's comfortable for you. Yeah, everybody's got it. Okay. And then you'll inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist towards your bolster. Your one sitting bone and butt cheek will lift up off the ground. It's okay. And then you'll walk your hands forward and lay down on your bolster. You can start by turning your gaze in the same direction as your knees. And if you need a little more support under your head, you could place a folded blanket there. So we'll call this sleeping reindeer. And if you want to deepen the twist, you could inhale, lift your gaze, lift your head, and turn your gaze to the opposite direction and lay down that way. But if that's too much on your neck, then no worries, don't do it. Then begin to deepen your breath. Go ahead and slowly come on up. You could keep the shape of your legs the same and just pause here for a moment before switching sides. And then you can go ahead and pivot your legs to the other side, bringing the opposite thigh to the edge of the bolster and finding that deer pose or mermaid shape of your legs. Then inhale, lengthen, bring your hands to frame your bolster. Exhale, lay your chest onto the bolster. And you can start with your head in the direction of your knees. If you want to deepen the twist, you can inhale, lift your head and turn your gaze in the opposite direction. Begin to deepen your breath. Inhale and unwind, coming back up to sit and just taking a moment to pause. And then from here, you can move your props off to the side, come on to your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Take your knees wide, soles of the feet up to the sky, and grab the pinky toe edges of your feet in happy baby. And whenever you feel as though this pose is complete for you, you can set up for Shavasana. Use any props that you'd like to make yourself comfortable. Take a moment here to take a full breath in and let it go inside. Let your feet gently open to the sides. Have your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. Shavasana. Give yourself permission to let go of anything that came before this moment, and anything that's yet to come. And take a rest on this first night of winter and darkest part of the season. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Drawing awareness back into your body as you wiggle your fingers and toes. And take a full body stretch, reach your arms overhead. Inhale here, get a little longer. Exhale, hook your knees into your chest. Roll to your right side and slowly make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. So you'll sit in such a way that you could be here for a few minutes and grab your candle, turn it on or light it if you're at home. And you'll have that right in front of you. And here, focus your gaze softly on the light. And you'll take your palms together and rub them. And then you'll gather the light with your hands and bring it over your face. And then rub your palms together. And then you'll gather the light again and bring it over the crown of your head. And then rub your palms together. And take the light and bring it over your whole body. Rub your palms together. Gather the light and take it over both of your legs. And once again, rub your palms, gather the light, and then do one foot. And then the other foot. And then rub your palms. And you'll take the light and bring it over each arm. Rub your palms. Scoop the light and bring it to your low back. Hold it here. And then you'll wash your hands in the light. And then scoop it once more and bring it right to your heart. And then one more time, you'll gather the light and hold it in between your palms with your hands in Anjali Mudra at your heart. Cradling the light here in the palms of your hands with a little space for it to glow. And here you can imagine that as you breathe in, that you breathe in the light. And then from here, we'll bring our hands into Lotus Mudra, which you keep your pinkies and your thumbs touching here in the base of your hands, and then you just open your other fingers like this. So it makes a little cup. And you'll shine this light outwards into the world. We can send an intention for peace on earth with this light that we share. And then draw your fingers back in, back to Anjali Mudra, hands in prayer, calling back your intention for yourself, for this practice, this season, this next year. And we'll end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Please bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste and happy solstice. Thank you all so much for your practice. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Debbie. Have
Merry
a great night and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Enjoy the girls. I'm sure we'll be a lot of fun.
I loved it. It was so beautiful.
I love that fox. I thought he was cute.
I love it too. It's one of my favorites.
Have a nice Christmas.
You too. Thank you.
Great class. Thanks.
You know.